All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the FPL Cartel podcast. I'm just going to move my microphone a second so I'll fit in your screen. There we go. We'll make Tom full screen. Apologies for that. There we go. We are officially announcing the launch of the FPL Cartel today. How do you feel about that, Tom? I'm very excited to get it over the line and ready for everyone.
Yeah, it's something we've been brewing for a while, to be honest. Like a lot of prep has gone in, and it's kind of just been out of our hands waiting for stuff. So it is nice to be able to, finally launch it, finally offer it to people, and yeah, hopefully we get plenty of sign-ups and we create a nice little community over on Discord. I think that's the bit I'm really looking forward to, especially on like game days and stuff. Just chatting with people in Discord and just kind of it's just a good vibe, isn't it, when that happens? Like, obviously, me and you WhatsApp, and it's all right, but it'd be better if there's more and more people in there, and it creates a little bit of an atmosphere. I think that's the bit I'm really looking forward to.
Yes, the FPL Cartel is going to be fun to be involved with, I think. So, just talking about the cartel specifically, as Tom said, there's going to be a private Discord, members only community, and we're hoping that, well, we know that the community we're going to form as a result of that is going to be great. This weekly podcast will be behind the FPL Cartel paywall as well. So this will probably be the last one of these that we do free to air. But we thought do a few weeks of these just to give people a taste of what they're going to get from a weekly podcast before we launched. And of course, we'll do a members only competition with prizes as well. And hopefully, we can use now we've gotten over the line of getting everything launched. We could use the international break to make some nice merch to give away when people win our mini league and stuff. Anything else you wanted to add on that?
No, I think you covered it all perfectly. To be honest, probably do another little roundup a bit later as well. But yeah, is the link in the description? I'm guessing for that one,
Absolutely,
or do I
yes.
need to put it in? I'll put it in the chat as well.
Yeah,
Let me
link
put it
is
in
in
the
the
chat for
description. I was
people.
just copying it into the chat, but go for it, mate.
Ah, lovely.
So
Yeah.
so that's the cartel bit done. How is everything in FPL going for you, mate, at the moment? What's your overall thoughts and feelings right now? You happy?
I am happy. Yeah, I've made it into the top 1 million, so I'm very, very happy about getting into the top 1 million. I guess as well, you're pretty happy with your rank. It's going
Yeah,
pretty well for you as well at the moment, right?
can't complain. Yeah, like 267k overall, I think we are at the moment, and that's partly, to be honest, nearly all down to Mark Gahey's 10 pointer. Yes, at the weekend, I think he's been a well. We'll see how it works out long term, but the 1 week transfer that I did bring him in is worked out okay so far.
Hey, my Palace propaganda didn't really work on you, did
They'll play. Well,
it?
they're playing on Thursday, I guess, aren't they? So they're probably. We'll find out what happens there, right?
Yeah.
So looking ahead at Game Week 11, then I've started things off with the standard Rob T FPL projections. What are your thoughts going into Game Week 11? Are there any particular players that you're targeting, or one of the talking points I think is probably worth covering on this one is what is the ideal Arsenal triple up? Because you look at all the projections at the moment, and Arsenal were top, right? They're top for clean sheet odds, they're top for projected goals. Their fixtures aren't even amazing, but you just think they're going to keep clean sheets and score goals against anyone at the moment. Do you have a view yourself on what the best Arsenal triple up is?
There was a lot of debate about this on Twitter. I don't know if
Mm.
you saw like Andy Martin and Baker having a go at each other around Raya. But I mean, Raya for what he is, when I bought him for 5.5, pretty good value so far. He's just a steady
Yep.
six every single week and gets you that second Arsenal player in the defense that you know is just going to play every single week. I think that's the other big point because at the moment, there hasn't been too much rotation. It has been Calafiori, it has been Timber, it's been, Saliba when he's fit and available, and obviously Gabriel. I do think when we start to get into this busy festive period, there will be maybe one or two of those guys that do miss out on a game. And I just think Raya, for that reason, he's not going to get dropped in the Premier League. Like, you're going to at least get your Arsenal clean sheet points out of him. I guess the point is when Arsenal do concede in a few games, because it will happen, they're never ever going to just keep clean sheets forever. That will probably be then where you put him under a little bit more of a microscope because you'll go, why am I spending 5.7, 5.8 million on a goalkeeper if he's not keeping clean sheets? Because there will be that period where Arsenal do just concede probably like one goal in like 3 games consecutively. And then it'll be like, why am I spending that? That's what will happen. I think in terms of the attackers, it's a little bit difficult more to say, right? You've got Rice, who's obviously been very, very good. Um, got, again, multiple avenues to points. He can hit defensive contributions. He takes set plays as well for Arsenal, and obviously they're the best side for XG set play. So it does make sense to have one of the set piece takers fully for that metric. Then you've got Saka, who is the penalty taker now. Gyökeres is, well, definitely going to be the penalty taker now that Gyökeres is injured for a little bit, but just hasn't really been hitting the goods. And then you've got the boy who scored the double in UCL last night. You know what I mean? Like, if Gyökeres is out for a little bit more of an extended time, do you maybe take a short-term punt on Moreno potentially as an option? Well, I don't know what you think about that one, but maybe if someone's got a wild card planned in game week 12, a 1 week punt could be good. The numbers look pretty decent.
Yeah, I don't actually mind it at all, to be honest. The one thing, because yeah, you're right. That I was going to lead on to a point about David Raya. The thing for me, and I think your point about him playing consistent minutes over Christmas is really good for one. But I also think, and I don't know how you feel, but there's more of a separation at the moment, I think, between Raya and the rest of the goalkeepers in FPL than there is between the other Arsenal outfield assets and the rest of the players in those positions in the game, if that makes sense. So Gabriel he's probably maybe even the best asset in the game right now. So he's an exception. But the rest of them that aren't necessarily getting the attacking returns in DEFCON, the defenders, I don't think they're necessarily head and shoulders above the rest of the defensive options in the game. And it's the same for the midfielders, really. Obviously, Rice is doing really well, but there are other midfielders in the game that are also doing really well, if that makes sense. So I just think Raya, at least at the moment, like you're saying, still they start conceding goals. Raya is just, I think he's the picking goal for me at the moment.
Yeah, I think that just kind of comes down to every other defense in the league because Arsenal are just blowing everybody away. They've only conceded 3 goals all season. I think it was last night they were saying on Soccer Saturday as well. This is the best run of not conceding since 1901.
Bloody hell.
So that's the level they're on right now, and I don't think anybody else in the Premier League is close to that. So I think that's why picks like Raya and Gabriel are just blowing everybody out of the water. And I think your point as well around the positions as well is really valid because Gabriel is just in a league of his own. So you're never going to pick any other kind of Arsenal defender, I'd say, above him.
Yeah.
Whereas the goalkeepers, there isn't really anyone, like maybe Pope, maybe Sanchez, but like they've got their faults. They're not the best defenses. They're not keeping as many clean sheets as Arsenal. So yeah, Raya does just put himself in his own kind of category, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, and one thing, like I always like and respect Jordan Pickford as an FPL pick because I just think the ideal FPL goalkeeper, and I don't know how you feel about this, but he's not one that necessarily keeps as many clean sheets as David Raya's doing, but he's one that gets saves bonus consistently as well. So you get like 9 or 10 clean sheets across the season and make regular saves. And that's what Jordan Pickford has done like season on season in the past. It feels like he could still be that goalkeeper now, but he's 5.5 million. He's the same price as David Raya this season. So yeah, I just don't think there's a real viable. I mean, who would you? I couldn't even name you a goalkeeper I'd really want other than David Raya at the moment, to be honest.
Maybe somebody like Petrovic at 4-5, but I saw people like chucking around Verbergen as a name. Brighton kept their first clean sheet at the weekend against Leeds, who have Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. So it's no real surprise to see that they managed to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
I would not be expecting it like most of the season, and they don't even appear on that table, right, as one of the kind of better defenses within the league. So yeah, I do just think you look at those numbers: City, Arsenal, Newcastle. They're just absolutely blowing the rest of the competition out of the water. I expect Leeds and Sunderland to probably drop off during that period. I think they'll start to slide down. We're seeing Chelsea start to move up in the right direction as well after a pretty shaky start. But I think obviously game state's got to come into that with the red cards that they picked up in those games. But yeah, I think Liverpool as well. They'll start to get better and start to work their way up this table, especially with some of the fixtures they've got after 12.
Should we talk about that now? We can talk about that as well. I do, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to speak about Van Dijk, but yeah, look at those fixtures after game week 12. That is an unbelievable run, right? Who's your top 3 Liverpool picks going into that run?
I think if money was no object, it's Van Dijk. I quite like Konate as well. I think he could be decent. He seems to be stringing together regular appearances in minutes now. You got to have Salah in there, but I'm not going to count him because he's obvious. I'll probably say Gakpo, to be honest with you. I don't know how you feel.
Gakpo's a weird one, isn't he? Because his minutes seem so insecure for me right now. I think it's a big pointer that he didn't play last night in the Champions League. Now, is that a tactical reason, or is that because he's not the best pick in Slot's opinion? That's what would be running through my mind. I'd be like, yeah, not ideal. I think obviously some of their best fixtures as well, that run of West Ham, Sunderland, and Leeds, is over a space of pretty much a week. It's Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Trying to pick what Liverpool attackers play during that period, probably going to be impossible. I think Salah will definitely probably play in all three. But outside of that, would it shock you to see three different attacking lineups across those fixtures? Probably so, in my opinion.
I see someone in the chat saying, I can't do it myself. But someone in the chat is saying Szoboszlai as well. What do you reckon of, because even Gravenberch has been popping up and scoring some FPL points as well. What do you make of those sort of more central midfield players? Are they pickable in your view?
Szoboszlai's definitely caught the eye. And I think I want to see where he's positioned in the City game. Because Conor Bradley had a fantastic game last night, kept Vinny in his back pocket all game. So he could definitely, work his way in as a potential starter, and might actually be a player we want to look at as well, Conor Bradley going forward. But yeah, I just don't like a guy that could just end up at right back. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, for God's sake, why is he playing right back? I'm paying 6.5 million for him, and he's ended up at right back. So that does concern me. Gravenberch, and I'm going to put Gravenberch, Rice, and Caicedo in a bracket here. I don't think we would be looking at these guys as FPL picks if the rest of kind of the midfielders so far within the game hadn't kind of performed. Because you think of about the amount of midfielders that just aren't really performing. Salah, Palmer's been crocked. Saka's not really hit heights, and he's been injured for the start of the season. Enzo is just accumulating an ungodly amount of XGI, but not doing anything. Yeah. There's just so many midfielders that aren't quite there. But then we look at the top 3 point scoring midfielders. It's Rice, Caicedo, and I think Gravenberch is definitely up there. I don't know if he's in the top 3, but he's definitely up there. So they're getting put under a microscope more because they are scoring their one-off goal of the season. I mean, Caicedo got 4 last year. He's already got 3 this year. So I'm not expecting too much more.
Continuing, is it?
No. And then because he's a good baseline bonus player and hitting DEFCON, his points just go whoosh, as soon as he scores, straight through the roof. So I think if there was more players scoring points within the midfield section, we wouldn't even be thinking about a Gravenberch, a Caicedo, probably even a Rice to that extent. Like if Saka was on fire, wouldn't even be an option within the game. So yeah, I think they're probably just being put on. I swear my internet did this last week.
All good. Yeah, you're back. It's all good.
I have no idea what. Maybe it's 7:58 on every Wednesday morning. They just have like a little blackout. Sorry about that.
It's all good, bro. You can't help it. Yeah, I completely agree with what you were saying about the rest of the midfield pool as well. I was just trying to think of where to naturally take the conversation next. We have a look at what people are saying in the chat a second.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's have a look. Ziad said the best Arsenal at the moment is Gabriel, Calafiori, and Rice. Interesting. I think that would be the best if you watched Gameweek 9 and 10, I reckon. But I'm not sure. Gregor Roth saying, I can see Donnarumma being an option if Man City sort out their defence. I just feel like, well, you probably share this opinion, but I never really picked Ederson in FPL, even when Man City sorted out their defence. There was a few seasons ago where I think they kept sort of 7 or 8 clean sheets on the bounce. One of them, it might have been the year before they won the treble or something like that. And even then I didn't want to pick Ederson because you just know it's 6 points or bust, really. And I know that's the same with Raya, but I think Arsenal are just another level, aren't they?
Yeah, City have got this tendency as well where they do just concede 1 goal, like so stupidly as well half the time. You're just like, for God's sake. So yeah, I won't go near them.
What else we got? People saying, yeah, it is interesting. I promise you these are the legitimate Liverpool fixtures. People saying it's quite interesting they play Leeds in game week 15 and 19, but I think they just reset in 19, don't they? So that's just kind of how it works.
Well, if you look at Manchester United, they play Wolves in 15 and 19.
There you go.
So
same game.
There you go.
George Corbett he's got João Pedro instead of Mateta, and obviously Chelsea have Wolves this week. What are your thoughts? I'll tell you what, I was on the concourse at Ashton Gate where Bristol City play last night, and someone shoved their phone in my face and said, "What should I do with my FPL team? Should I get Mateta in?" And he had João Pedro up front, and I was like, I can't tell you to sell João Pedro ahead of playing Wolves. I can't tell you to do that.
No, I think with Wolves and Burnley up next, you go, no, you just can't sell him. Like, there's just no way you sell him ahead of those two fixtures. Like the golden goose fixtures this year. Burnley are the worst side for XG conceded, and Wolves are just terrible. They're bottom of the league for a reason. So yeah, you can't sell a striker ahead of those two fixtures. That is like criminal behaviour if you do that.
I think so too. Also, they didn't actually shove the phone in my face. They asked me very politely, but I thought I'd say that for effect. What else we got? We got Millie in the chat. Good to see you, Millie. Now that Gyökeres is injured, is it worth to take a -4 to bring Saka in? Or I don't know. I think there's enough forwards, but you can just directly replace him. To be honest, you've got like Voltemada, Mateta, Thiago, Welbeck, all of those players. You could replace him with, I think.
Yeah, and Saka's not really pulling up enough trees for me to justify a -4 either.
No, he's potentially on the chopping block for me, I've got to say. Caleb is asking, blimey, should he bench Welbeck this week?
Who've they got? Palace away?
Yeah.
It depends who you're starting ahead of him. But, Palace aren't a bad unit, but after European football, maybe Brighton could sneak it. But again, Brighton are just one of these weirdo teams where they batter someone and you think, right, this is it, invest into Brighton. Yeah. And then they'll just lose like 3 games in a row. But nobody knows because it's Brighton and you don't really pay attention to it.
Yeah, exactly. What else we got? Oh, final question before we move on. Who is the best Chelsea defender?
Oh, I think it's Reece James. He's taken pretty much most of the set piece share off Enzo.
I can't believe
for that
said
reason alone. Yeah, and he's keeping himself fit. So I do think Reece James is working himself to be the best Chelsea defender right now.
The only argument I have against that is probably nonsensical, but he is the biggest troll I've ever come across in FPL history.
Oh yeah,
is Reece James.
Yeah.
So, I quite like Chalobah as well. I'd say Chalobah. He seems pretty solid in the team. Getting a few DEFCON, I think he'll be all right. But yeah, you can't argue what you're saying about Reece James for sure. Right, I've got another bit of data from Rob T that people might have seen on Twitter before. But it's essentially just explaining who's leading the point scoring in FPL and where their points are coming from. And we're looking at the moment as Gabriel, currently, 6.5-ish million defender, is the second highest scoring player in FPL. And I don't think that's going to change. I mean, you can see he's just getting points from everywhere, isn't he? I mean, every single metric that you can score points, he is scoring them from in FPL at the moment.
Yeah. He's honestly unbelievable. And I think I've had some people saying, is he worth 6.6 that he's priced at now? And I'm going, he scored 55 points in the past 5 games. If Trent or Gvardiol in previous seasons would have put up those numbers and we're paying like 7 mil for those guys, you wouldn't even blink. You'd just go, I've got to get Trent. I've got to go and get Gvardiol. So why would you have any kind of different opinion from Gabriel? Probably because he's just playing centre back. But again, look at where he's getting his points from. It's not just the clean sheets. It's DEFCON. It's assists. It's attacking threat. And again, harping back to that point, Arsenal are just the best defence in the league for all metrics and are also the best side for set plays. They've scored 10 goals so far this season from it. So he just is an absolutely incredible pick. The interesting thing that I took from this graphic, and I think this is going to be a big shift in what we see with a lot of people's teams, there's only 2 forwards on there. Yeah. One's João Pedro and the other one is obviously Erling Haaland. Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to switch to a 2 up front, maybe even a 1 up front and just go Haaland. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the best team in FPL right now probably has 2 up top. Although I did just make a wildcard team that has Haaland, Mateta and Voltemada up front. But I personally, I'd be very inclined to agree with you, to be honest. Especially when you've currently got starting 4.5-ish million forward from Bournemouth as well that you can just stick on your bench if you need to. Yeah, I completely agree. And this data backs it up, doesn't it? And where most of the players on this list, let's be honest, are defenders, right? The bulk of 4th to 11th, apart from 2 midfielders, they're all defenders.
Yeah, literally. So you might as well just roll a 5 at the back every week. Haaland up front, give him the armband, and just play 4 in midfield. That's it. Get Caicedo, get Declan Rice, get Gravenberch, and you win in the game. Basically,
you need to buy yourself a Stoke City 2010 baseball cap, I reckon.
This is the thing, though. I remember me and you having a chat, probably around game week 3, where I went, I think I might just play 5 back every week, and I've gone against it. I should have just gone
you
for
were
it.
Right.
Because
you were right all along.
Look what's happened. Like, everyone is just rolling out with back 5s, There's a lad in my work league who's like 4th, and I look at his team, and every week it's just a 5-4-1. He's got Haaland up front with the captaincy armband, and then it's like Lacroix, Gabriel, Timber.
It's going to pay off at some point for him, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got Anderson, he's got Tarkowski, and I think he's got like Rice, Caicedo in his midfield, and I'm like, how is he jamming this every week? It's unbelievable. So, I probably should have lent fully into the Pulis vibe, but hey-ho, we're here now, and we're starting to lean into it, I guess.
Yeah, final question on this metric at the moment. Are there, because you've got 20 players on here at the moment, are there any players you're like surprised not to see on here, or you think will emerge onto this list by the end of the season?
Bruno Fernandes will definitely appear on this list.
Mad that he's not on there, isn't it? He has been, the points dodging that he has done this season is wild, mate. It's wild.
Yeah, it's criminal, the amount of points dodging Bruno Fernandes has done. I think Salah will probably start to work his way onto this list as well. His XGI is trending in the right way, so I think he will start to. Maybe because of AFCON doesn't feature, that would probably be the only thing, but I do just think his data is starting to look good. This Liverpool run before he heads off to AFCON as well, he could pick up a real big bulk of points there and really cement himself. In terms of players I expect to probably drop off this list, maybe your Caicedos, maybe your Rices, maybe your Gravenberch. I just don't see them continuing to score goals. Like, I think Caicedo's XGI is like 0.09.
It's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
He's not going to keep scoring just 30, 40-yard screamers every week. It's not going to happen. So I expect him to probably those kind of picks to drop off. I've just seen Salah is actually on the list down the bottom, so I was wrong already. He's already there.
I was wrong as well, mate. Don't worry.
So yeah,
I wouldn't be. I don't know. I feel like this is the thing, right? The data is not saying that Caicedo is going to continue the form, but at the same time, I've just got a sneaking suspicion that he does. I think he has a seat. I think he's on course for, obviously, Chelsea are not going to have the success that the team did, but I think he's on course to have a season similar to what Rodri did in the last full season he had in the Premier League, where he also had ridiculously low like XGI numbers, but was just banging them in from outside the box, just getting in on the end of really difficult chances and just slotting them in. I'm a little bit of the mind that that's going to continue, to be honest, with Caicedo. But he's up to 6 million now, I think, isn't he, with the price changes and stuff?
Yeah.
So that is a little bit expensive for him. I am just ruining the day that I decided to go from him to Enzo Fernandez, though. I'll probably be in the top 100k if I just kept hold of Caicedo and started him every week.
Yeah, I spoke about this in one of my videos this week. Is obviously me and you both had Caicedo and both made that switch for Enzo, the more appealing player, who again has been serially points dodging. I said, when do you play Caicedo? And that's the problem I think me and you found, is you look at the fixtures and go, do I play Caicedo in this game? And I guarantee that will be the game where he picks up a 10-pointer. I think I did bench him for one of the goals he scored already.
Me too, yeah.
And I was just like, I was never going to play him. So how do you justify picking him? It's just so frustrating. I think that's what a lot of people will find when you do end up with Caicedo. You go half the weeks going, do I even bother playing him? The weeks you do, he picks up 2 and doesn't get close to DEFCON. The weeks he's sat on your bench, you're looking at a double-digit haul. It's just the way it goes with him, unfortunately.
Absolutely. We spoke briefly about Bruno Fernandes and his points dodging. Similar to what we have with Liverpool, I also have brought up the Man United fixtures as well, because Man United have some pretty exceptional fixtures alongside Liverpool as well. I think these are two teams that are probably fairly I wouldn't say underrepresented, but people aren't loaded up on them. Do you think Man United options are on the menu again? And if so, who would you like to pick from them?
All I'm going to say is that lad who needs to cut his hair for 5 Manchester United wins is looking at that fixture run and he is licking his lips because they should pick up 5 during that period. The fixtures are really good. Their most difficult games are probably going to be Bournemouth, Newcastle, Palace, and Tottenham during that run. But like you say those teams and you go, any given day, anyone could probably beat them. Like it's not a City, it's not a Liverpool, it's not an Arsenal. It is winnable games across all of them. I think I'm going to probably get so much slander for this one. My top pick is just Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, you've got to go for it, haven't you, I think now.
You bring Brian Mbeumo in, you're taking him out in 16 after AFCON.
Yeah.
So, it's good. You get some good fixtures in there, but then you've got to take him out and use a transfer. I know we get some unlimited AFCON transfers anyway, so if you've got that plan in mind, he's not a bad player. Really good XGI. I think he's like 3rd or 4th at the moment for XGI, so really, really good numbers. But Bruno, for me, is that guy that just has the multiple avenues to points. I say it every single week in my videos. I'm like, penalties, free kicks, corners, DEFCON, baseline bonus is ridiculous. Do you know what baseline bonus he picked up at the weekend?
Oh, so probably sound ridiculous.
It was 26 off an assist.
Yeah.
26 off an assist that wasn't even in open play. I think he was maybe 4 or 5 BPS off bonus just for 1 assist in a game where there was, 2 goals apiece.
And he hit the post as well.
Hit the post as well. Like if he scores that goal that hits the post, that's free bonus.
Yep.
And again, going back to the avenues of points, where did he get his assist from? A corner. Like it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, and I do think he will end up being one of the kind of best picks within the game. I think if he just, I know we keep going back to this point, but if he scores those 2 penalties, he's right up there as one of the best names in the game. And that's all I'm going to say. I know you're quite a big believer in Bruno as well, but I know some people will probably be like, shut the fuck up, like he's crap, basically.
Yeah, I completely disagree, like you say. And I think the thing with Bruno is he just scores points from all the directions, right? There's goals, assists, DEFCONs, bonus, everything you want in an FPL player. And they're not playing in Europe. He's already a consistent 90-minute man, plays every game, even if they're in Europe. He's never injured. Touch wood. And they don't have Europe this season. So all of those games he's going to play, and for 90 minutes. I just don't see another way around it. And you look at all the other, like we were talking about, Liverpool assets, other teams as well, Arsenal even. You're not too sure who's going to play, in that busy period in December. I think Man United, they've got a space where there's 3 games in a week. I still think, pretty much a week, I still think Bruno Fernandes is going to start all of those games, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I think he plays probably close to 90 in all of them as well. The other thing they've got is no Carabao Cup as well. Obviously, that's around December time, around, I think it's in between the 15th and the 21st fixtures there. Again, he just gets a nice week off. It adds up. It really, really adds up.
Say no more. All right, I've just noticed we've had a fair few new people join the chat in the stream, so I'm going to go back to just to explain what the FPL Cartel is quickly before we go on to our team. So, as we were saying at the start of the stream, this will probably be the last free-to-air one of these podcasts we do. The FPL Cartel is live. You can sign up using the sub-launch link in the chat and in the description below. And as part of that, you'll get, obviously, this exclusive weekly podcast. We've done a few of these, so hopefully you get a flavour of what you're going to get in those. And the main thing, I think, is access to our exclusive private Discord, where we'll post the link to these streams as well. We'll put them on private, so only people that are signed up can watch the stream. And yeah, we'll be there chatting away about FPL, UCL fantasy. I think you're in EFL fantasy as well, aren't you? And I can help with that as well as a Bristol City fan. But yeah, we're going to have a nice little private Discord for everyone to join. And we're going to set up our own mini league as well, and over the international break, work on some decent prizes for you, which we'll hopefully give away on a monthly basis as well.
Yeah, I think the cool thing that we've set up within the Discord as well is there's a dedicated deadline section. So on a deadline stream, obviously me and Tom, we go early with our streams. Then we finish up around 9 o'clock. then we pretty much will probably just be kind of sat in the deadline section while we're both at the gym, just being like, what do you need? So you can send us your team, ask us questions in there, and we can give you detailed advice. Obviously, we both do team reviews on our deadline streams as well. And if you've ever watched them, we can't give you too much advice because we've got so many to go through.
Exactly.
Where we'll be like, yeah, nope. There we can give you more detailed advice, give you a better run through of our plan, your plans with your team and stuff like that. And yeah, while the numbers are obviously at this joining point low, you pretty much get kind of exclusive access to me and Tom. So I think it's a very, very good deal. I'd highly recommend signing up. And like you said, yeah, it's only going to get bigger and better. So get yourself in nice and early.
Yeah, and one of the benefits you've been saying in previous weeks, which I hadn't even thought of at the time, but if you've got, like, say you're watching one of the big streamers, and this is no obviously disrespect to them, it's just the nature of their streams, but you're watching one of them and you want to get their attention for some team advice, you're probably paying for a super chat at the end of the day, aren't you? And I think the fee that you'll pay to be part of the FPL Cartel is basically what you pay for one super chat, and you get, well, I wouldn't say completely unlimited because we need to sleep and have other things going on, but you'll get some very good private advice from us as a result. So I think we're offering a good deal here.
Yeah, agreed. Ben in the chat already says, get yourself in there, lads. One of our early members. So shout out to Ben.
Shout out to Ben. Absolutely. We're going to look at teams next, mate. Did you want to look at mine or your team first?
Let's go for your team.
My team.
My team. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I haven't put my overall on there, but I'm currently I think it's 262k overall at the moment, which is nosebleed territory at this stage of the season, to be honest. I'm really happy. 90 points. My transfers last week, so I sold. Basically, I wanted to get rid of João Pedro for Mateta, but I didn't have the money to do a straight swap. So I had to look elsewhere for where I could find the money. And I thought, James Tarkowski's not been amazing so far in my team. So I swapped him for Gahey. Gahey scored 10 points. Mateta scored 9 points. So both transfers, well, I guess João Pedro scored as well, didn't he? But the Gahey transfer paid off. Full house from my defence. So David Raya, Gabriel Anderson all scoring points. I think we spoke about it again. We'll cover it quickly because someone's talked about it in the chat. We spoke about what the ideal Arsenal triple up is like. I've got Raya and Gabriel and Saka. I think I'm very happy to own David Raya. He's been subject to debate across this week on Twitter, I've seen. I just think the separation between him and the rest of the goalkeepers in the game, apart from Gabriel, is bigger than the separation between the rest of the Arsenal assets and the rest of the players in their respective positions, I think. So I'm happy to stick with him. What else have we got? Iliam and Njai, by the way. I'm sure you probably do already have him, but what a player he is. And again, he's almost like a mini Bruno Fernandes in the sense that he didn't get them this week, but he's been close or gotten DEFCON on a few occasions, takes penalties, and if he keeps scoring goals like that for Everton, it's not going anywhere from my team. And I think he did leave the pitch, unfortunately injured, but there was a quote from Moyes after the game saying he thinks it was just cramp. So hopefully it is just cramp and he's good to go. I don't think there's too much to talk about. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes, we've covered him quite a lot. Bit disappointing from the rest of my midfield. I don't know how you feel about this, actually. Semenyo has not been, obviously, pulling up the trees that he did at the start of the season. I have a sneaking suspicion it's somewhat related to Krupi Jr. being in the team. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I've heard similar kind of reports from Bournemouth fans as well as Krupi doesn't bring other people into the game, where Evan Nielsen's quite a selfless player who helps the team. So maybe we might see Evan Nielsen back in the side, and I think that will obviously bring the best out of Semenyo. But what I would say to people that are thinking about maybe selling him is I would look at the Bournemouth fixtures for the next 5 to 6, and I definitely think he's worth keeping for those obviously upcoming fixtures. I don't think there's anybody else in midfield that is doing anything amazing compared to what Semenyo is doing. I would probably say the only reason that you might sell him off is to fund a move for Salah. That is the only reason I could see people obviously offloading Semenyo in the next few weeks. Other than that, I think with the fixtures, you do just keep him.
Yeah, I agree. Something I've forgotten to look at as well, and it's looking ahead at my team, is the Gameweek 12 captaincy. I think it's quite interesting. So I'm not necessarily saying that Haaland isn't the best captain. I think it's perfectly viable. You just stick the armband on Haaland and forget about it against Newcastle away. But I personally think there's something different about Newcastle at St James's Park. On their day, they can just keep a clean sheet and make it difficult for anyone. And I think with the big physical defenders that they've got, they might be able to get some luck in blocking Haaland out of a game. And I think looking at all the game weeks we've got coming up, like I think game week 13 is even a triple captaincy opportunity for Haaland when he plays Leeds, to be honest. Do you think that there is a case to not captain Haaland in game week 12? That's something I'm thinking about.
This is something I have looked at. I'm just going to the head-to-heads to see what they did last year at St James's Park. 1-1. So, there is a case for it, what you're saying. I've looked at game week 12 as a potential week I might free hit in.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, because Liverpool got a really strong fixture, and if you don't necessarily trust them, you can triple up and then get rid, right?
Exactly. So you could have Salah captain for that week against Forest. Sign me up for that. You'd still probably want your Arsenal against Spurs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You'd probably want triple Chelsea against Burnley as well.
I think so. Maybe Palmer will be back as well.
Maybe Palmer's back. Maybe you want João Pedro if he does well against Wolves. So I think it's just a nice way to get into a lot of teams that you probably won't want to triple up for the longer term on. And like I said, just shift out Haaland against Newcastle. Now, it's not saying Haaland still won't score. I probably just will get one, won't he? But I have looked at 12 as a potential free hit week. That is something that has crossed my mind so far.
Yeah, good. I'm glad it's not just you. So yeah, I thought that'd be relevant to bring that up because it's relevant for my game week 11 team basically. The rest of the point scorers sort of speak for themselves really. Obviously Haaland, he did a robot celebration after his first goal, proving that he is indeed a robot. And yeah, I look at my team for next week, and there's no desperate need to make a transfer. It's just a case of, do I start Anderson or Senesi? Like, my personal opinion is I think Anderson might be more likely to keep a clean sheet, but he's playing in Jai, who's in my team. So does that mean I start Senesi in that case? That's the only decision I've got to make, really. I think everyone else starts for me. I'm not worried about captaining Haaland against Liverpool. I know they've just beaten Real Madrid, but I still think he's the best captain. And then, yeah, we'll leave the door open to a potential free hit in game week 12, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a steady strategy. I probably would play Anderson ahead of Senesi as well. I think it's quite a big jump in terms of clean sheet percentages.
Let's go and have a quick look, actually. Yeah.
According to Rob, I think I've gone for the same benching, kind of benched Senesi, played Anderson route. I think it's, 26 and 22, 4%. It's about right. It's about right. I still probably would back the 4% difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it if you wanted to go for Senesi as well. Like you mentioned the reasons there, obviously playing Ndai and playing Anderson. But it could be a case where Anderson keeps clean sheet and Defcon, and Ndai just gets Defcon and a clean sheet and comes away with 5. Like, you could get a 0-0, but both could still very easily score. So I always think that when people always say to me, oh, I don't like my players playing against each other. Well, I always think, well, it doesn't really matter too much. Like, I wouldn't deep it, because you will just get occasions where, like exactly that occasion I just outlined, you could get Defcon off one player, clean sheet off another, or Anderson comes off in the 62nd minute and Dye goes and scores in the 90th.
True. That would be ideal, wouldn't it?
Exactly. It has happened before to me and my team, so I think, at least play it. You'd be more frustrated with yourself if you bench that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say on my team, really. I'm conscious we've had a little bit of stick because we played our wildcards a few weeks ago and picked identical 15 teams. Pretty much like it was independent of each other, really. Obviously, we talked, but I think it was just our honest assessment of the game. But I think we had a slight difference of opinion last week on Crystal Palace, which has meant our teams have diverged a little bit, which is nice to see.
It has indeed. I went for Michael Keane, who is honestly the worst defender I've ever watched in Premier League football.
It is bad.
He could have given away 2 penalties very easily in that game against Sunderland, but came away with Defcon in the first half. So I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. If he'd have kept the clean sheet, it would have been a very nice, juicy points. But 4 in the end, not too bad. And like I said, I don't think he's going to be a transfer out in a few weeks, where I do worry about Palace with that placement of the Carabao Cup game being in the midweek of Christmas. It pretty much means now their next midweek break is in the middle of January. And if they get to the next round of the Carabao Cup, then I think it's end of January, maybe February is the next midweek off. There's just a hell of a lot of football that they're going to be playing. So I think the short term, Palace are great, but I would probably say around game week 16, that's where things really start to ramp up in terms of midweek fixtures. And I'd be like, I'd start to worry about my players, to be honest. Like you said, in terms of the players, we have a similar-ish team. It's just one difference at the moment, right? Michael Keane and Gahey. So you came out on top with that one, but 84, still a pretty good game week. Got me into the top 1 million, which is where I was roughly aiming to be around this point anyway. So pretty happy with that. Again, same with you. I've currently benched and die, but if it is only just a kind of what do you say, cramp?
Yeah.
If it's just cramp, then he'll come back in for Senesi, and I'm pretty happy just to play him like that and not really make any transfers. I don't think there's any need to move anybody out. I think I've looked at Ndai replacements if it is a more longer term injury. I'm thinking Saar for a 6-week period probably would be about the right move, or it will probably go to maybe trying to find Salah again. Like that's kind of the route I'm at. Yeah, next week, probably looking at a free hit. I think it's game week 12, 13, and 14 of the weeks I've looked at for potential free hits. Again, it is all just around building Liverpool players and Salah and captaincy and stuff like that, where I thought about the free hit. Game week 13, I think it's going to be triple captain Haaland against Leeds. I think that's a very popular week that people are looking at. So there's where I'm kind of thinking with in terms of chip strategy. And the midfield power five, I think, will probably get broken up over the next few weeks. If Palmer's back, Enzo pretty much loses most of his appeal. So you probably get the Wolves and Burnley game, and then he's out, realistically, out of the side. Semenyo, if he doesn't deliver, probably on the chopping block. Saka as well, not pulling up the points, but is just, again, getting the big chances, but not really delivering, and dies off to AFCON as well. So that midfield will change quite a bit over the next few weeks, I think. The forwards, though, can see that pretty much that two being there till about game week 17. Then we probably chop Mateta out during Palace's difficult fixtures. Maybe just go with a one up front if nobody else is obviously doing the business. But yeah, like you said, no real need to use a transfer this week. Very easy roll.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you. I do wonder how many free hit draft videos we're going to see in the international break. Because I think it's the more and more I think about it, the more I think, game week 12 looks prime time, doesn't it? It really does.
Yeah, especially like this is the thing for me. If Salah goes off big against City, you're like, okay, I've got to probably consider him. So you'll be like, free hit. We'll definitely be we'd be spamming them out on the channel over the international break.
It's the easy way to scratch the Liverpool itch as well. Yeah,
exactly.
I like it. Let's see. Have a look at the chat a second. I was struggling to get my words out then. Let's go to that screen and have a look at the chat. What have we got? Yes, thank you for posting the link. Oh, who are the captain options this week? Obviously, well, I guess you've got Haaland who's playing Liverpool. I mean, we're saying that Newcastle was a fixture you wouldn't captain him against. Obviously, Liverpool are still a decent team. They're just beating Madrid 1-0. If you weren't to captain Haaland this week, who do you reckon you would go for?
Gabriel.
Yeah, I think
I said it in my team selection video. I was like, I would go for Gabriel. 50% probability of a clean sheet. That'll definitely rise before the deadline. I think it did last week. Then you look at the points he's scoring per game. It's 8 points per game so far this season. Haaland is 9.3. So, like, it's not too much of a difference. And again, just goes back to all the points we spoke about in today's pod. Best side for defence, best XG conceded, best side for expected goals from set plays, most from set plays. All of it just goes back to being Gabriel probably is the second best captaincy pick this week.
Yep. Can't argue with that, mate. Can't argue with that. What else have we got? Ray saying Brighton players could be differential. I agree with him, but I also agree with what you said in the sense that they're up and down, right? They could beat Man City 3-0 one week and then just lose 4-0 to one of the bottom teams, right? That's just what Brighton do.
Yeah, I think especially under like Graham Potter a few years ago when he got the Chelsea job, people were like, go and look at Brighton's record. They go on terrible losing runs. And I think they've already had one this year under Hertzler, right? Let me just quickly get their fixtures up. I swear they've already had like a pretty terrible run of games. No, they've actually been pretty steady this year, to be fair to them. They've actually been pretty steady, but there's still been like spells, like a 1-1 draw to Wolves. That's a game you're expecting.
That's criminal, that, given what Wolves have been like this season.
Yeah, 4-2 to United, who again have been pretty up and down this season. A 2-1 loss to Brighton, losing to Everton. Like there is just rogue results in there. 1-1 against Fulham, but then they've beat City, they beat Chelsea. It's these games where you probably go, right, I'm not playing Welbeck, I'm benching him this week, or I'm benching Minter.
That's when he
They'll go and
scores.
win it.
Yeah.
And the Wolves and the Fulhams where you go, right, I'll be playing them this week. They just shit bed everywhere.
Because I think that's very fair, and that's another thing about the Brighton assets. Actually, is I think they are players that you could potentially bench on some weeks as well, aren't they? I think some. So I don't know if this is a mad thought, but some points, especially some questions I get on my deadline streams and stuff, people are asking me who they've got on their bench and like benching decisions they need to make in a week. Sometimes some of these benching headaches that people have are mental. Like it's a complete 50-50 as to who they play. And I'm of the mind where I will actually actively want to pick a weaker bench so I don't have these headaches. I don't know if this is something you consider at times, but maybe avoiding the Brighton players psychologically help you in that regard as well.
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's very much a mindset one. I don't think there's like a correct answer on it. But I'd still want players that can score points. Like if somebody scores points on my bench, at least I know when I do need them or require them, they've got that ability, rather than kind of just saying like, oh, there's a few duds on my bench that pick up ones every week. So I think it's kind of like that 50-50 mindset, isn't it, really, where you don't want them to be scoring points on your bench, but at the same time, when they come in, you'd like them to have that ability to score points. So I think it's maybe finding the right balance of that.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Caleb's asking how to do a super chat. I have no idea, mate. I've never actually done a super chat on YouTube before. But rather than doing a super chat, mate, if you fancy signing up to the FPL Cartel, that's probably going to be about the same value as a super chat, mate. You probably get more benefit out of that than a super chat. I'll be completely honest with you. Yep. What else do we have? Would you do Stack from Leeds to Marino for a 1 week punt? Or would you bring in Minte for the long term?
I would probably do Minter for the long term. I think transfers are going to be quite valuable over the Christmas period. Like we are just good. Like that Wednesday, I think it's game week 14 or 15 that falls on like a Tuesday and Wednesday. Every year,
it's going to be pandemonium, isn't
it? Every year, I guarantee you'll log on to Twitter and it'll be like, why is he benched?
Yeah.
I think it happened. I can't remember. Like it always falls usually when my work Christmas parties are, and like we're always out, and it's just be like, I think 2 years ago it was like Areola was benched, and it was like, why is he just randomly benched? It's just like there's so many random ones, and I think last year there was some big ones as well. So I would say transfers for me are going to be quite precious over this period. I know we get that stock up in terms of the AFCON ones, but I would be a little bit more careful with them. And I think Minter is still a very, very good option.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I'd agree with that. I would also I'd add it to what is your chip strategy as well. I reckon if you're free hitting in game week 12, it makes it a bit more viable. But at the same time, you just know as soon as that week's over, Marino's pretty much done, isn't he, as an option? And that also assumes that he's going to play as well. I think he probably does, but at the same time, I think there's a risk that he might not start. What else have we got? Oh, someone's saying you did a 6-7 then. Oh, sorry, I need to be a bit closer to my mic, apparently. I need to get the same mic as you by the looks of it. Jemima Unicorn saying, what are you going to do? It's a very good point. What are you going to do with your forced transfers in Game Weeks 15 and 16? Are you going to do a mini wildcard in Game Week 15 or try and run them low?
Good point. I might save them and just make one per week after that and save them, because we definitely will get some sort of double, I reckon, early doors. It always happens. Like around game week, between game week probably like 25 and 30, we're going to get something. There's going to be one double. And it'd be nice to use, I reckon, those transfers during that period. So I'll probably just keep going one per time, unless, like I said, my squad needs like major surgery, then we'll just whack them all out.
The only thing in my mind is I can think of maybe 2 players in my team that are sort of close to being transferred out. The rest of them, I genuinely, I made a wildcard video this week, and it's not like to sound, I think I'm quite lucky with how things have fallen this season, to be honest, but I don't think my team right now is too far off. Maybe 1 or 2 players different from my wildcard team this week. So other than getting rid of Njai, I just don't know how I'd use my transfers, to be honest, mate. I don't think, there seems in some cases a pressure to use them all. But if genuinely, I'm looking at my team every week and I'm really happy with it. Like burning the odd transfer here or there doesn't feel. I know it feels very uncomfortable, but at the same time, what would you do if you're happy with your team, right? You shouldn't. I don't think you should force a transfer just for the sake of using it.
No, that is a valid point. I guess you maybe just swap around your 4.5 million forwards, don't you? That's all you'd have to do. You just go, oh well, we'll switch to the new in flavour 4.5 million. Yeah, exactly. Free up a little bit of money.
What else did we have? Mandeep looking at wildcarding in game week 12, so he wants to do a 1 week punt. He's thinking of one between Pedro, Bowen, or Enzo, maybe even Marino. What do you reckon? 1 week punt. I think I'm going to say Marino.
Yeah, he looked really good last night, and I owned him in Champions League fantasy. So I'm going to back the boy.
I can't say I'm too enthused about Enzo because I think he will play deeper. So I think Delap's back, isn't he? So Delap probably plays up front. Pedro at the 10, Enzo alongside Caicedo. That probably makes Pedro maybe a better option playing at the 10 than the 9. I don't really know, but I think Pedro is a decent shout as well. I'm not sure about Bowen at all. I don't know what you think, but I can't back West Ham. Even though, to be fair, I did watch the West Ham Newcastle game and he had his chances, did Bowen.
Bowen is one of those players that he never really. It's very rare that Bowen gets a big double-digit haul.
Yeah.
I think I said this maybe 2 seasons ago, and I had Bowen. I was like, I'm never going to captain him because he doesn't get a double-digit haul. And then I looked at it, and that was, I think, the week before he got a hat trick. And I was like, oh God, I'm going to look like a right goon on YouTube here. But my point still stands. If you ever go through Jared Bowen's point scoring history, it's always 9. It's always 8. It's never a good 12, 13. So for a 1 week punt, he's all right. But he's just not that guy that goes and gets the big monster hauls. And that's always kind of been his downfall, is he's never really been captaincy worthy, in my opinion, when I've had him, because he just doesn't get the big double-digit hauls. But he's a very consistent, steady player. But I think there's more upside in probably better one-sided picks.
I'll tell you what, we talk about one week punts. Why don't you go for Delap as well? He's probably going to start for Chelsea, isn't he? So, yeah. He's probably the rogue one, isn't he? Because no one, if you really have the opportunity to do a 1 week punt, right, the other players you've mentioned, people might have. Like Marino, I think after that Champions League performance, might be transferred in by some. But honestly, Liam Delap is going to be so low owned. And if it really is a 1 week punt, that is, I think, taking full advantage of it, to be honest.
Yeah. I want to have a look how many people have actually bought in Marino this round. Let's have a look. Okay, how many people do you think have bought him in this week?
50,000.
You are so wrong, sir. More people have bought in Max Doman.
It's not even that much.
Kid. Yeah, it's 4,256. Okay. So he would be a very big
low
differential.
As well. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Someone else answered with 50k in chat, so we'll take that.
Yeah, I was expecting to see those numbers. I think maybe today that might ramp up, and maybe as the closer we get to the deadline, and probably your Andes and your Raptors go, he's a good 1 week punt. Then that ownership will definitely start to go. Yeah. That ownership will start to fly up.
I'm conscious I have to get away in 5 minutes for work, but is there anything else you wanted to cover on this stream, mate? I think I feel like I've covered everything I wanted to, unless we get any other questions in the chat.
No, I'm happy just to flick through the chat for 5 before you have to dive off to work.
Before we do then, we'll go through the FPL Cartel again, because we probably had a slight change in the viewers of the stream. So final plug we'll do for it. This stream comes in line with the official launch of the FPL Cartel. So the FPL Cartel is a paid members only exclusive Discord, where you'll have both me and Tom giving you advice on your team, and it's just a general chit-chat about football and FPL as well. This podcast will be part of it on a weekly basis. We'll share a private link in the Discord so you can watch this, and no one else who's not a member can watch it from now on. This will be the last 3 podcasts that we do. We put 3 or 4 of these out now, so you get a good idea of what to expect in these podcasts, and we'll do a members-only mini-league prizes as well, and hopefully we'll use the international break to cook up some nice mugs and stickers and all sorts to give away to you all. I think the FPL Cartel brand leads a lot to the imagination as to what we can do with our merchandise, I think.
Yeah, I think we've had some cool ideas already for stuff that we want to do. So yeah, we'll be working hard over that. But I think for me, the big selling point, obviously, this podcast, I think it's pretty good. Good value, and then the private Discord access is really the big key selling point. You get in not only like one content creator that's got a decent rank at the moment, you've got two that have decent pedigree of playing fantasy football, know what they're doing, can help you and just give you a little bit more detailed advice on your side and stuff. And I think we're hopeful that we can create a nice little good community in there as well. We've got already a few members in the door, so if you do want to sign up, get yourself in there and get yourself active, and you never know, you might win potentially this month's monthly prize, and that could be something nice already, being the first winner of that.
Absolutely, mate. And yeah, there's a link in the description below below the title of the stream for you to sign up. Tom's posted it a couple of times in the chat. It's in the chat there, I see, and I've made it the pinned message as well. So any of those links will get you in, and it's a nice, easy to use landing page that we've got as well on Sublaunch. So it should all be very easy. You just click pay your money, and everything is sorted for you basically. Okay, let's have a quick look, see what everyone else is saying in the chat. Andy's suggesting that maybe Pedro becomes a better option with Delap back in the team. I'm not sure what to make of it, to be honest.
I think people are looking at that Wolves game earlier in the season where that was the case and they did really well. Was it Wolves? I can't remember the exact opposition, but I think that's the game where people are. Anytime I've said like João Pedro in the 10, that's the game that we'll look at.
George has got. So he's got a back three this week of Reece James, Gahey, and Gabriel. Should he change anything?
Oh, no.
It's literally probably the best back three of the game at the moment, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in a really good position with Reece James. That's another 1 week punt as well. I'll be honest with you, I think you could do a lot worse than just bringing in Reece James, to be honest, as well as a 1 week punt. What else have we got? With Gyökeres out, should I play a back four of Senesi, Richards, Gahey, James, or bench Senesi and use the transfer on Gyökeres, or take a hit? I think I'm just going to use those two options, actually. So if Gyökeres is out, should you just bench him and play a back four, or should you use a transfer to take him out? What do you reckon?
Depends who your other forward is, right? Because if you've already got Mateta, then I'm not like infused by using a transfer on any of the other guys. So maybe that move later down the line becomes you do it and, like switch around some players and get yourself Salah in a few weeks, or maybe another premium midfielder. Like that seems like a kind of dual move if you're going to do that, if you've already got Mateta. So I probably would be tempted just to bench him and chuck Senesi, Richards, Gabriel and James in. That was what I would be doing. Interestingly as well, they said he's going to be back after the international break, which is technically next game week because the international break starts. So yeah, it sounds like a long time away, but it's only actually one game week.
One game week, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think I'd sell Gyökeres, to be honest. I've not seen enough from him recently, and I think if you're owning him, I don't know. I was looking for any excuse to get rid of him after the first couple of weeks I had him in my team, and I think you can cover it up and say it's an excuse to get rid of him. I think psychologically that'd be my view. But that, of course, depends on who else you've got up front and who else you fancy, right? Because if there's no one else up front that you like, then you may as well just bench him and play a four. And we've looked at who are the top scoring players in FPL this season and where are their points coming from. Some of those back four players that you're talking about are scoring more points than some of the forwards you'd bring in. So a Senesi, for example, is the 10th top scoring player in the game, which is higher than even João Pedro, for example. So playing a back four is not a bad idea at all, I don't think.
No, definitely not.
Right, like I said, I do need to head off to work because I've got a 9 a.m. meeting that I need to get ready for in chair. So I think we'll wrap things up there. Is there anything else? Any last parting thoughts, Tom?
No. Hopefully people enjoyed the free to air pods. Like I said, they're going to go on the behind the paywall now, so make sure you sign up for sub launch. There'll be a dedicated like question bit in there as well that people can get themselves into. But yeah, make sure you're joining the sub launch, and we'll see you in the Discord.
Cheers, everyone. Have a good day, and we'll catch you soon.